All right, we're starting the week off on a very big note. A number of stories. Finally, the governor of Kano State has declared, well, he resigned, and later today he said that he will be joining the APC. But beyond that is a very big statement made by Minister Hannatu Musawa. Some people disagree, some people agree, and talk about the fact that the northern Muslim is important for the presidential ticket in 2027, especially maintaining Senator Kashim Shettima as vice president. But a number of things this morning. Rufai, your take on this.
Real quickly, I mean, I don't know this talk about stabilization and consolidation. They're talking about the economy. I mean, Minister Wale Edom seems to be singing this song, but it's not practical. Stabilization of an economy that you've lost most of your purchasing power parity. In 2023, what was the purchasing power of an average Nigerian? When the devaluation happened, what's the purchasing power today? Stabilization in an economy where businesses face a burden of increased costs across board. Stabilization and consolidation where you still have inflation on over 15-16%. Yeah, you say it's coming down, but we know it's because of the change in the calculation methodology. That's not the true state. If it's really coming down, the central bank now will have been able to reduce the interest rates. Stabilization in an economy where businesses are shutting down, businesses are complaining about the high prospects, where you have a lot of challenges with businesses and the like. So, I mean, this talk about stabilization, I mean, I don't know, maybe we're living in two different countries, but out there, people are not feeling the good benefits of this reform. And that's just it. They are paying more for petroleum products. Like I said, oh, will come down at an appreciable price. And in fact, the less than 800 or 800 above that people are buying now is because people are still fighting their warfare. Once they get done with their warfare, they're going to jack up prices. Once somebody is able to get monopoly on the market. So I see a lot of distortions. This talk about stabilization. Secondly, as regards the man that left to APC, the truth is, what will they say? The same APC that
Abba Yusuf,
the same APC that they berated was all the problem when they were running for 2023 elections, is now the golden fleece now because it's convenient for him. But you see, the very interesting thing about Abba Yusuf is he should remember that he has a source. And as he goes against his source, there will be, challenges. Kwankwaso definitely also had a rally to be able to show up his base to tell them that things are working. Abba Yusuf going to the APC, that's going to be the solution to all the problems of Kano. Has he been able to meet the demands and the yearnings and the aspirations people in Kano voted him for? That's the big question. And was it Abba Yusuf they voted for Kwankwaso in that election? That's the big question they should also answer. And for all those that think that they can put in their political godfather there, putting their political godson and they expect their political godson to always submit to them. Please, number one, they should remember not everybody's Ododo. Two, they should also remember that there's a local saying that to give monkey water is easy, but to collect the cup back now be wahala. So the truth is, when you give somebody power and you expect them to be loyal to you, Kwankwaso can cry all he wants and say it is World Betrayal Day. But what did he expect? A human being is a human being. Coming to my sister Musawa, there's nothing that she said that is not, valid as regards the political calculation in this country. In fact, it's the sad reality of the kind of politics we play. And she's just telling you that what they will go and tell people in the north is that, oh, they've taken this person out of the ballot and it will act against them in the ballots. She's not also telling you that the government has done anything to fix the insecurity and the problem. They will never campaign based on the insecurity. Look at the case of Kaduna. The Northwest that gave President Tinubu a lot of votes, about 2-something million votes. 177 people kidnapped in Kujuru. The local government chairman went there with the military. And they told the villagers that, please, don't tell people that they kidnap you, because you'll be able to get the dividends of democracy. While they were leaving, they met a Christian aid group. And the Christian aid group wanted to go in. They prevented the Christian aid group from coming in there. Do you know that as at this weekend, they've kidnapped another 6 from that same Kujuru? Till today, President Tinubu has gone to Turkey again. I just hope he brings us goodies of democracy or investments. They say they will talk about bilateral cooperation. They speak a lot of English, but we are not seeing anything. President Tinubu, he came. The 8 days he spent, we have not revisited the matter of Kujuru and everything. Not that he even went to visit them, not that he even saw them. Right. President Tinubu, out of 26 days in a year, he's only spent 8 days in Nigeria. Most of the other days are abroad. But when it's election time, all they just need to do is to go back there and whip up sentiments based on tribe and religion without doing anything for the people who are solving their life problem. And say, oh, you must have a Fulani man, you must have a Kanuri man, you must have this person on the ballot. So my sister Musawa has just said it the way it is. It's the same sentiment politicians peddle. It is not about service to humanity. It's not about improving the lives of people. People have gotten poorer. They know that the people will not ask them. Just like I think it was one of the doctors that was pushing the agenda for, I forget now, said on this Arise channel that was trending. He said all President Tinubu just needs to do is to share 20,000. If they don't collect 20,000, there will be technical glitch during the election. Okay. So she has just talked how politicians used to talk. So nothing is going to change. Let's just keep deceiving ourselves. Election time will come now. They will say race, religion. Nobody campaigns based on competence in this country. And that's why the country is the way it is. And they will fall for, see, what she's saying now, the North will fall for this bait again. And when they fall for this bait again, their lives will be more impoverished. And when it's the next election in 2031, they will still come and put that Northern agenda and propaganda along ethnic groups and all of that for them. Okay. The day Nigerians wake up, that's when their lives will stand up.
All right. Dr. Martin.
Let me start with Minister Hannatu Musawa, Minister of Culture, Tourism and Creative Economy. Front page story of This Day Today, saying that, look, it will not make sense for President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to drop his Vice President, Senator Kashim Shettima. Now, first, I'd like to say that it's an act of courage on the part of Minister Musawa to come out boldly, being a public officer, a member of the government, not minding the fact that there are certain persons within this administration who may not like some of the points she has made. So I salute her courage to the extent that, all the points that she made, anybody that is marginally familiar with the politics of Nigeria cannot controvert her. One, that you don't say because of certain circumstances, you drop your vice president. What are those circumstances that people have been talking about? Last year, when there was an APC event to endorse President Bola Ahmed Tinubu in the Northeast, now Vice President Kashim Shettima's name was not mentioned in his own zone, in his own political base. The young people who were there started throwing chairs. They disrupted the meeting. The APC in Abuja had to reverse itself with the excuse that, it's President Bola Ahmed Tinubu that can only choose his own deputy. Now, most recently, the week before, let's say 2 weeks ago, they were having another stakeholders meeting in the Northeast. They had the poster banners showing the pictures of all the governors from the Northeast, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and other personalities. The organizers deliberately omitted the picture of the vice president in his own hometown or in his own base, Maiduguri. And then, of course, there was, a pushback from the Youth Forum, Youth Coalition, issuing statements up and down. Now, last week, Tuesday, back page column, This Day, I wrote on this in a piece titled The Importance of Kashim Shettima. So it's good to see that Minister Musawa is standing up. I'm not an insider in this dispensation, but, I salute Musawa's, no, I'm not an insider.
Are you sure?
No, I'm a journalist. I'm an analyst, a very well-informed journalist with basic training, even more than enough training in the business. And I had said that, look, all this monkey business about removing Shettima will not work. Now, the latest allegation is that President Trump would like to have a Christian vice president. And I argued that President Trump cannot determine who goes in there. So Minister Musawa now has reinforced, that perception, which is also a perception that is held by many people. She says that the North is too strategic, is too politically educated for you in the middle of the game to just change your vice president. In any case, it's a winning team. And that people should be sensitive to the nuances, political nuances in the northern part of the country. Well, she was specific. She said, Hausa, Kanuri, or Fulani Muslim. You change that, you create problems. President Tinubu already has enough problems in the north in terms of what we read, what we hear. I don't think he should complicate it further. The second point that I think Minister Musawa made is about the opposition. She says that, look, the opposition is very useful and that it's not part of their calculation to muzzle the opposition. That's a very intelligent point to make. But she added, however, that the opposition parties are in disarray, and that is a recipe for failure. That is, plain sight, plain view, intelligence. Anybody can see that because the opposition parties will need to organize themselves better. The final point, of course, that I will add very quickly is that President Tinubu has a reputation for not being able to work with deputies. When he was governor in Lagos State, the allegation was that he alone had about 3 deputy governors in one dispensation or over time. Mommy Bokna Akerele, Femi Pedro, Chief Abiodun Ogunleye, at will. They will just impeach the deputy governor. President Tinubu now has the opportunity to prove that he can work with deputies and that it's not a stigma for him that people can exploit ahead of the 2027 election. The final point is about Senator Kashim Shettima himself. Now, I've known him for quite a while, since he was governor in Borno State. Now, he's a man of courage, he's a man of wisdom. I think that he has conducted himself like a gentleman. He has been very modest. He has managed the Economic Council in a very intelligent manner. He just returned from a Davos, where he demonstrated in his many interventions that there are talented people in Nigeria. But you know why I like him so much? His modesty, his humility, and the fact that he's one of these few persons who have been in government who can quote Shakespeare, who can quote Sun Tzu, who reads. Many people who go into government, what is the name of that, your Lagos friend, Rufai, they can't even read one paragraph. And then you have an educated, competent man. Your good friend. His name escapes me now, right now, but I know you have a good friend who cannot even read a paragraph. And he's holding important position and he even gets to inspect a parade. So this is the kind of situation in which we have found ourselves. So if we have an intelligent, a brilliant,
talking about?
Okay.
Please put some respect.
No, the name escaped me.
He gave Ashwaju over 700 million in the last election.
Please, the name escaped me. So in other words, I'm saying Senator Kashim Shettima is not a man you just throw away like that. Now, as for Kano State politics, now Senator Kwankwanso has already said that last Friday, I think that was January 24 or so, was betrayal day because of what his godson, Governor Yusuf, has done by potting, as they say in Nigeria, to the APC. He had been a member of APC since 2014, but now he has taken the decision to go, and he's going to register today, again, rejoining the APC. Now, along with the 22 members of the House of Assembly, 8 members of the House of Representatives, 44 local government chairmen from Kano State. That in itself must be a big blow to Dr. Kwankwanso, who is the leader of the party. But I hear that part of the reason, which is instructive, whether you are looking at Rivers State or Kano State, is that the governor, Abba Yusuf, was not given the freedom to run the state. Councillors, board appointments, everything was done by the godfather. And that to have breathing space, this Governor Yusuf now says, let me just go and join APC, where he has been promised an automatic ticket for 2027, and where they tell him that he can breathe a little bit more freely and exercise authority. So at the base of it, the subtext is the relationship between godfathers and their godsons. However, Senator Kwankwanso has been showing strength. In his house in Kano, people from Nasarawa local government area, which is the place where his house in Kano is located, they've gone there to massage his ego and to say that you are our leader, you are the best thing since the invention of toothpaste. But the reality is that Governor Yusuf is now going to join the people who are all in the APC. Mutfwang, Governor Caleb Mutfwang, is joining formally tomorrow in the APC Secretariat in Abuja. He will be joined by Governor Yusuf. And that's why I argued before now. Governor Mutfwang will be number 30 of the governors joining. Governor Yusuf will probably be number 31 out of 36 governors and the FCT. All the governors are almost gone. It's only a few persons like Alex Oti and Makinde who are standing firm. And that was why I said, well, it looks like the election is won and lost. But I understand the caveat that we should not discount the people. The people are the ones to choose at the end of the day. Finally, the president going to Turkey. Oh, yeah. Well, he's president. But I just hope that there are lessons we can learn from Turkey, which, despite high inflation, is a major production center. There are lessons that Nigeria can learn in terms of productivity from Turkey. We are not as productive, so we should just go there to learn lessons. As for Minister Edun, he is the coordinating minister of the economy. He was speaking in Davos, for heaven's sake. And if he goes to Davos looking for investors, we don't expect him to go and run down his own country. He cannot do that. So if he says we are moving from stabilization to consolidation, he has a point. After all, our foreign reserve has now increased. It's gone up to about, $46.5 billion. Our stock exchange is doing very well. There are things to sell. And he's saying that, look, we have achieved a lot. We can do more. And we want to consolidate on what we have achieved. And his position is backed by IMF, backed by World Bank, backed by the rating agencies. So I don't think we should just discount the optimism that the minister, coordinating minister of the economy, has shown at an international forum. So it's on point, in my view. That is.
Okay, let me talk, first of all, just a quick line, because I know that my time is limited, but a quick line on the president going to Turkey, the Republic of Turkey, and just linking it to his recent visit to the United Arab Emirates for the Sustainability Summit. And I think it's quite ironic that the president is visiting countries and talking about attracting investors and opening business channels for Nigerians and those countries when we don't even have free movement of people from Nigeria to these countries. When we talk about visa restrictions, only recently the United Arab Emirates has changed its visa policies for Nigerians. So even in terms of movement, for the opportunity for business owners to go to these countries, it's difficult. The same with the Republic of Turkey. So perhaps the conversation should begin with in the area of perception, public perception or country perception of Nigeria, and a way to work towards an equal footing for both countries. So while he's going on these missions and on taxpayers' funds, it's important that the taxpayers themselves can benefit from these trips, and perhaps a starting point would even be to talk about relationships in the area of movement of persons and goods between these countries. So just to put that out there. He's going with a contingent of some of his ministers and his aides, and like we often talk about, they come back with the signing of this memorandum of understandings. But the most important thing is to ensure that this is followed through and that Nigerians can see and experience the benefits of these trips. Now, moving on very quickly to politics. We will be let me just park in Minister Musawa's her thoughts. As has already been established, she hasn't said anything that a number of people would argue with. However, a few things I'll just put in here. The thing about this is that when we talk about politics, elections in Nigeria, it's usually, the status quo, which hasn't augured well for the Nigerian people. We have seen, unfortunately, the way that elections and politics have been run in recent times, and we need an upset in the system to perhaps rejig the political process. And part of that upset, whether you like it or not, would be the 2023 election. A number of key things happened there that I feel that we might take some lessons from, and even, address Minister Musawa's stance that for the APC to have a real chance at winning the 2027 elections, they must have a northern Muslim who is of Fulani, Kanuri, or Hausa extract to balance that ticket. But remember that in 2023, what had never happened, or what hadn't happened before, whereby a Muslim ticket was said to be a dead ticket, a ticket that would be very difficult to sell to the Nigerian people, where there had been an unwritten rule around a balance in Christians, Muslims, Muslim-Christian ticket. And the APC was able to work that miracle and emerge as winners of the 2023 elections. Politics is a cycle of upending and shocks and introductions of new ideas, or perhaps even areas that would not have been very popular. So if the APC could run with the Muslim ticket, why is she now saying that if it doesn't follow this particular pattern, which yes, in fairness to her, if you look at the trends in the north, that had been the case, but in the trends as well in Nigeria, in northern, a Christian or Muslim-Christian ticket, Christian-Muslim ticket was the ideal. So if they could achieve it that way, then there's nothing wrong with trying out perhaps a new system come 2027. Beyond that as well, some of the criticisms of this ticket is that President Tinubu might want to now make good to the Nigerian people in the spirit of fairness and with regards to the global perception by introducing Northern Christian to the ticket to have a winning formula, or at least a more palatable formula, not just in Nigeria but on the global scene, especially because now the attention of the world is in Nigeria, having been designated as a country of particular concern. And so a number of names have come out in the ring. It's a game of politics at the end of the day. The other part of course, is the northwestern region, where a significant portion of the APC votes has come from. And what they're saying is that one of us should be represented on that ticket. And so there's also the northwest zones conversation in this mix. So while she has spoken correctly, and if you look at trends and patterns, there have also been trends and patterns that have been broken in the last election that we saw a different change. Another factor was the third factor, the obedient movement, the move whereby it was said to be dead on arrival. It's the main political parties, but the Labour Party introduced something different, something fresh, to see that Nigerians, if given a fair and free election, would vote according to what they felt was the best solution to the people. And so what we should be looking at, I believe at this time as a nation, is yes, take some lessons from the trends and patterns of political history of Nigeria, but very importantly, if things must change, we must also be ready to rejig and change certain things around that. Now, in fairness to her, let me talk about the fact that they've said that if they change the VP at this point in time, it will send the wrong signal to even investors. As you know, the VP traditionally is the coordinator of the economy. But again, as I said before, if the APC was able to do something out of the ordinary in 2023 and still emerge as winners, there's nothing stopping them from doing the same thing in 2027, especially if they're looking to appeal to a broader base in the South, a broader base with the Northern Christians, a broader base in terms of voters, and have people actually believe in the ticket and in the spirit of equity and fairness. Now, moving on from that, with the coordinating minister of the economy and minister of finance saying that we're moving from now we're getting from stabilization to consolidation. Late last year, when we were looking at the 2026 projections for the economy, one of the things I had said was that the APC government had consistently promised Nigerians that initially it would be birth pangs, and then afterwards we begin to see the dividends of some of the very difficult economic decisions and policies that they had taken. Now, 2026 is judgment year, and I do believe that in a proper country, the actions or perhaps the outcomes of some of the economic policies that this administration took should be a judge for how people will vote, or an opportunity to influence Nigerians to see that they have the capacity and what it takes to actually lead this economy in the right direction. And so I would want to give them the benefit of doubt. It's still early days in 2026. Let us see how finally some of the difficulties that Nigerians have faced based on the early economic policies of this administration, how it would affect Nigerians in terms of money in their pocket. As we often talk about the purchasing power of the ordinary Nigerians, not just figures, not just throwing out, the number of, foreign reserves, throwing out statistics, but actually how it affects the woman on the streets, the market woman, the people who are earning the minimum wage. To what extent are they able to use that money, and to what extent do they have economic power? So some of the things we'll be discussing, but in summation of that, it's early days. I'm optimistic, based on even IMF recommendations, that in the coming days, months, and few weeks, we'll begin to see the dividends of this hardship that Nigerians have had to endure in the last 2 years based on economic policies.